Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today we're in Dudley at the Black Country Innovative Manufacturing Organisation, which is the home of the Very Light Rail National Innovation Centre. Now, this is a place that is making the future of rail transport. Lots of cool technology and things which will be affecting us in years to come. However, what's particularly exciting is that they have a test railway, and what's more exciting is that this is still owned by Network Rail, and the cherry on top of the excitement is that I'm going to be driving it on, in fact, the newest standard gauge vehicle that I have ever touched. So, with all that out the way, welcome to Lawrie Goes Loco. But before we take a look at today's vehicle, a little bit more about the site where we are here in Dudley. Behind me is what's left of the South Staffordshire line, a line that was closed under Beeching. It used to go that way to Burton-on-Trent, Lichfield and as far as Stourport, but no longer, with this section still being owned by Network Rail. So it's all been laid beautifully and is up to a very high standard. However, this is all exempt from the ORR for testing purposes. It's a railway designed to be able to test innovations in rail, and that's very exciting. But it does mean that technically, as it's Network Rail owned land, it's Network Rail owned railway. And that's something that I don't normally get to drive on, and I'm very excited about that. Also, generally, they don't have guest drivers here, so this is another real kudos for me to actually get to go running up and down this railway. And what's also very exciting is just around the corner, there is an 870 metre long tunnel. Yes, that's very, very exciting. The name is a little bit misleading because although the name is the Very Light Rail, they don't just do light railways. It's about supporting the national network, full-size proper trains, not just light railway solutions. It supports the entirety of the rail family. So what is the purpose of having a railway to test things? Well, behind the camera is the Very Light Rail National Innovation Centre. The idea behind this place is it's spearheading development in rail, helping the rail industry on its journey to being carbon neutral. It's about making it more affordable, both for you to be able to ride on it and for companies to be able to operate it and install it. And it's about supporting SMEs. And it's really exciting to see something actually developing and helping to build new technology here in Britain. It's something that we were known for, making technology, building things and spearheading the way. And to see a brand new facility that's doing just that really, really excites me. It's something that we should be doing in this country, and it's great to see it actually happening. The brand new facility behind me boasts such features as a massive workshop complete with overhead cranes suited to working on trams and other railway vehicles, a huge exhibition space that can be hired by people in the local community or to put on displays to show what they're doing. And on that very note, well, on the 17th of May, a few weekends time, there is a family day where you'll be able to come along and see the facility for yourself and see some of the things that they're working on. Also, they're going to be doing rides on the Coventry Very Light Rail System vehicle, which will be the first time you can ever go on it. And top of it, I've been asked if I want to come and do a talk, so you can come meet me, have a chat to me about railways, go for a ride up and down the railway behind me, which often you don't get the chance to do, and of course, see all the wonderful developments that are going on behind us. It's a genuinely exciting thing, and there is information in the video description for you to find out more about it. And with all that said, well, I think it's time to go and look at today's vehicle. For your viewing pleasure today, I present to you a Bance rail vehicle. This machine, at the time of filming, is just 14 months old. This is a 2024 machine, and look at it in all its beauty. Now, for those of you going, I've seen something like this before, then you probably have, because this is the kind of machine that is out on the network. More importantly, this is the evolution of things like the Wickham trolley that I bought you, I know, a couple of years ago. This is so that people can get about safely on the railway. Now, when you look at this, you'll realise that it is a very complicated machine, and I will talk you through some of its key features. It has 4 wheels. It also has 4 seats. It's got some lights. It's got a windscreen, and a roof, and that's basically it. These are very simple machines, but it's a really useful vehicle for being able to test out new technology. This thing often gets loaded up with different pieces of tech and taken up the railway for a test. I've seen these before in many places and always wanted to have a go with them because they just look like fun. It's effectively a go-kart for the rails, isn't it? You can't get any more simple than this. I've seen some videos elsewhere on the internet of people who have made their own vehicles to go on rails, and this is basically the same thing. These are available to buy. You go to Bance and you can order yourself one of these fine machines to go and explore whatever you need on the railway. Now, the idea behind this is not just for personnel to be able to move, but you can also get trailers that go behind this, where you can load up other bits of permanent way. There's a trolley system where you can put rails on to drag that into the location where you need to do your work. It's an all-round track vehicle for workers. And also it's bright yellow, and I really do enjoy bright yellow things. There are multiple flavours of the Bance rail vehicle. This one is the deluxe 4-seater. It is the 4S BAC. Now, you can see here that there is a join. The 2-seater version, well, the back wheel is there. This one just has another section bolted onto it. This mighty machine weighs 170 kilograms if you take the batteries off it, because this is an EV. These 6 batteries combined with the 4 electric motors give you a whopping top speed of 16 kilometers per hour, and they will propel you for around 60 kilometers, depending on what you're doing with it, because it is suitable for pulling up to 1,000 kilograms on the tow hook behind it. So that's a ton. Obviously, if you're pulling a ton, you're not going to get that 60 kilometers range out of it because those motors are going to be working really hard. So you got to kind of balance out what you're doing. But for what we're doing today, we've got 60 kilometers to play with going up and down there. I really like this, and actually, if I had the opportunity to buy one, I'd probably go for it. If anyone had one kicking around, they didn't want it, this would be perfect. Now, there are other versions available. You can get it as the EV electric version, but there are versions available with internal combustion as well, which will give you additional range and presumably additional speed, but I don't know. As mentioned, this does have a roof fitted, and this is an optional extra. Normally, these come as a cabriolet version with no roof. The front screen and all of this is an additional. Normally, you're just outside in whatever weather, because your track workers, well, they're going to get wet anyway, so you might as well just allow them to go out and get really unpleasant. Day like today, in this beautiful British sunshine, lovely. And actually, if it was deeply unpleasant, there are no windscreen wipers because it is just a piece of perspex across the front, so you'll just be sat there going, there's probably not anything ahead. One of the things I really like about this is just how utilitarian it is. This is clearly built for a task, to go work and nothing else. There was no thought into making it pretty. It was just, how is the most simple, basic way that we can make a track inspection trolley? And this is it. It is absolutely beautifully simple. In fact, I don't think I will ever drive anything on the standard gauge which is more basic than this. This is pretty much ground zero for rail transport. This is Bance 4S BAC, 4S because it's the 4-seater. You see I'm now in the passenger compartment at the back, number 34023. So, and of that, of course, is of 2024. It is very modern. The drive on this is really simple. There's an electric motor which is chain driven to each wheel. Not a live axle, each wheel has its own motor. And in there's a sealed bearing, meaning that when we come round to the prep, there's absolutely nothing to do because they're sealed, we don't have to touch them. They'll last as long as they do, and then they'll just be replaced. Absolutely brilliant. The entire trolley is constructed of aluminium, apart from obviously the perspex across the front, meaning that it's not going to rot and keeping that weight down, keeping it portable and man-movable should you need to move it off the line. It's fitted with an array of headlights across the front, allowing you to both be seen and to illuminate those dark sections of track when you're running through the darkness. It has some key features on it as well, like mudguards which say no step. And actually, okay, that does bring us to the end of the key features. It is a basic utilitarian machine of which it has absolutely no history because it was brand new and came here. It's never gone anywhere else. I can't talk about the design anymore because there is literally nothing to say apart from it's about 2 meters long. In fact, it's just shy of 2 meters. It's the same width as the track. So it's 4 foot 8.5 wide. That's it. I am struggling, guys. There is nothing more to say about it. It is the most basic thing I've ever looked at. So with the key points and the overview of this thing, this is possibly the most simple and easy episode of Lawrie Goes Loco we've ever done. Let's go on board into the control centre and have a look at the features on board. The biggest issue is we have these front struts here. So you have to kind of stand into it and then up, foot over, and sit down. Now, this has got some features that I have never come across before on a rail vehicle. Numero uno, if I reach down here, I've got adjustable seating. So I can go forward, back, and just give myself enough leg room or crush the legs of those who are sat behind me. The other feature that I have never come across before in my entire time of being on a railway is I have a seatbelt. Now, I have never in my days had to put a seatbelt on a rail vehicle, but there we go. Bolted in, there we go. Lap belt. So allow me to talk you through the rest of the controls here. We have a key here, which is the ignition. We turn that on. I've got an emergency stop. Then we have parking lights, spotlights. We have floodlights, so all of these lights across the front. Here we have the reverser for forward and reverse, and then we have the control for full speed or half speed, so we know what one we're going to use on that. Auxiliary power is here, should we require it, and then we have a little display screen here, which will give me information on the battery, how many kilometres this thing's actually travelled, and other basic information there. There's a warning light here, which will start flashing when I'm out of battery power, and then the throttle or regulator is here, which we use like that, with the horn next door to that. That's basically it. Visibility is superb because I just have the whole world in front of me. I've never been on anything that is such a unrestricted view forward. Obviously, if it's raining and it's pouring down, there are no windscreen wipers to get rid of it, but it's an incredible look forward to be able to see all of that there. And then going backwards, well, I just look there. If there's somebody sat behind me, that's going to be the biggest hindrance to be able to go backwards. It is beautifully simple. Oh, the other nice thing is padded seats. I mean, this is luxury. Little bit of back support. I mean, little bit, doesn't come up all the way, no headrest. But for a lot of the stuff that I normally get to drive, having a seat is quite a luxury. And they are nicely padded because there's no suspension on this. So all of my ride comfort is going to come from these very seats. And that is about it. I love how much visibility is, and I love the airflow. Obviously, we have the air conditioning on today, and the sides are open. If we drop these down, I believe this would turn into a greenhouse, and I would become a disgusting mess, because it would be warm. When the weather is less pleasant, folding these down will keep the worst of the weather off you. Obviously, then you have to get outside, and it's all wet and horrible, and yeah, they will dribble on you. Today, glorious. However, that is it. There is literally nothing else to it. Simple control system, beautiful visibility, a seat belt, an adjustable seat, and the fact that I'm sat down. So I suppose we should go about the prep and get this thing ready to go. The prep is ludicrously simple. All we have to do is make sure that this is in run and not isolate. What that does is it disconnects the motor, so if you need to handball this and push it around, you can make sure that the motors are disconnected and there's no resistance. The thing won't power on if these aren't in the right setting, and there's one on each axle. Well, at each end, as there isn't really an axle. So one controls these two motors, and one on the front controls the front two motors. As I mentioned earlier, the bearings are fully sealed, so we don't have to touch them. They'll last the life of the vehicle. What we do need to do, though, is give it some power. The next stage is to plug in each of these into the 12-volt batteries. There are 6 of these 12-volt batteries around the locomotive, or the trolley. Each of them has a strap on so they can be taken off for charging. The idea being, of course, that if you're using this regularly, you'll take the batteries off to charge them and put in a fresh new set. So these are the 2 sets underneath, which are plugged in like so, and now there's a set under the rear seats that also needs to be plugged in. So the first thing to do once we get on board is to make sure we are safely belted up to be part of the T's and C's and all that. Ignition on, spotlight and floodlight. No, we'll save the battery, we don't need those, it's a nice day. Forward, half speed as we're coming out of here, and gently away we go. Onwards. That's weird. So the first thing we'll notice as we go past is this structure there. That is a fully composite overhead tower, so that represents the future of doing line-side stuff rather than using metal to use composite materials. And over there is a wind turbine, the idea being that when trains go past, that will generate electricity from the current of the wind. Do you know, there's something that feels very strange and very wrong about going out on what is clearly the network. So now we're over the point, we can go to full power. This is rapid. Well, actually lied. Acceleration is rapid. I wonder what stopping is like though. Wow. So
That's quite good.
This is rapid for stopping. The control system on it is really nice, and you feel like you've got a lot of control. The biggest problem with it, though, is that the speed is very limited. Now, it says there 80 kph, and I don't think we're going to do 80 kph. Now, as an experience, this thing is phenomenal fun. However, if you were actually requiring this machine to get you to your place of work, being stuck at 8 kilometers an hour would be tedious at best. It is hilarious fun, and I love this, and I want one for myself. But as a work vehicle, the internal combustion engine one, both the petrol and the diesel, are significantly faster. There's one that does 30 kph, which means you actually can get to places, whereas this, I can imagine you're getting very angry and very unhappy with it very quickly. Oh, trying to drive it smooth is definitely a bit of a challenge. But coming up ahead, this is a tunnel on the main line. This is... Well, that looks very dark indeed. So, wow. That looks...
That's quite terrifying.
That looks really ominous. That looks genuinely terrifying. That looks rather dark and scary. As this is network rail, we know it's disconnected from the network. We know there's nothing coming. But it's in the back of your head that this is network rail and what's in the tunnel. They did, however, warn us that the tunnel is dark. And so they provided us with this key to go and open up a box to turn the floodlights on to illuminate the tunnel so it won't be dark and scary. So we hop off here. We wander over to our little box, insert the key, undo this, and now, if you're ready for the grand illumination in the tunnel. Are you ready? Huh. I'll be honest, I was expecting a bit more. Right, so with the mighty floodlights on in the tunnel, lights on the engine, horn, and away we go.
Into the darkness.
Oh! There's certainly something very strange about driving through a tunnel, particularly a proper full-size railway tunnel. In fact, I don't think I've bought you a tunnel yet, really, on the channel. We did Telford, but this feels a more substantial tunnel to be travelling through. This is quite the experience. The big thing to take from this is if you want to travel through this tunnel yourself, if you come along to the family day, then they're going to be offering rides through this very tunnel, which is something that you don't normally get the opportunity to do. In fact, I don't think passengers ever get the chance to go through here. Ah, there is light at the other end of the tunnel. Now, what I am surprised about with this little machine is how smooth it is. This track does feel like the main line. It is beautifully smooth. And this thing just glides across it. It's almost like being on ice. It's glorious. The other big thing to take from it is the control. Though it's a little bit difficult to drive it smoothly, it's so responsive. It's possibly the most twitchy thing I've ever driven. The tiniest bit of movement on that throttle is a lurch at speed forward and backwards. And how quickly it stops when it wants to is fantastic. The other thing that's quite magnificent is it's really cold in here. Like this tunnel is really chilly. They said it'd be cold, and we went, yeah, whatever. Tunnel is very cold. Of course, this is all silky smooth because it's on continuously welded rail, and this may well be my first experience of ever driving on the continuously welded rail. It is glorious, let me tell you. I've said it previously, and I'll say it again. This really feels like we shouldn't be here. This feels like we saw this by the line side and went, you know what? We're going to go for a ride. It doesn't feel heritage at all. It's the least heritage thing I think I've ever done on the channel. And I get to do a lot of things where I'm like, yeah, I'm amazed I get to do this. This one I'm just like, I shouldn't get to do this. More so to the fact that the guys just went, here are the keys. You know what you're doing. And we went, yes, we do. I want one of these in my life. This thing is, for this experience, incredible. It's the kind of thing I want to take out to Poland and go for an explore on the abandoned railway that I did on the pedal power one of these. Now ahead of us, you probably can't see on the camera because of the glare, but there's a gate. And gates generally are problematic for railways. Right, okay.
Smooth.
I do have a number.
You do have a number.
Try the number.
On a piece of paper. Let's try the number.
Which obviously hasn't blown off during the trip.
Oh, please no.
Feels like we've been given access to stuff that we really shouldn't have been given access to.
Carry on.
This really gives me the sense that we shouldn't be doing this. It's just, this is a site that we shouldn't be able to see. This feels very abandoned railway now. Very, very strange, but also very, very exciting. This is like exploring an urban railway. What makes me happy is there are a couple of bridges carrying the road above us, and I love the idea of people looking over and just being like, what on earth is that thing trundling along there? That just amuses me intensely. What's also really exciting is I've never explored this bit of the railway, so I've never been here before, so this is a genuine bit of exploration for me. And what a silly little machine to do it on. Oh, this is absolutely glorious. This is absolutely perfect for doing just this. Exploring a bit of railway and finding it out, to be able to drive down and have the freedom to actually explore. This is the perfect vehicle to do that. It's genuinely a really fun machine. This is what I've always dreamed of doing though, having a small, light rail vehicle and going exploring a railway. This is literally the territory of dreams for me. It's absolutely spine-tinglingly exciting. It's just, I can't put it into words how fun this is. This is also like the perfect, this is what I'd love to have. I'd like to have this as my own personal little railway. As we trundle along here. This machine is just perfect. As much as I took the nick out of the shelter around it, the shelter is magnificent. It keeps all of the wind off. It means that you could probably hear some of what I'm saying. Sure, it definitely is loud, but it's quite brilliant. We have to do 10 kilometres an hour here. So this is my favourite feature of the railway. There is a platform at the end which goes to absolutely nowhere. But it is... I need one of these in my life. This thing is absolutely incredible. It is a worthy successor to the Wickham trolley. And this quiet, accessible, easy to maintain and use is quite simply one of the most perfect vehicles I've ever had to go on. And I need it in my life. And this brings us to the end of the line. Going that way is a truly abandoned track bed. And this brings us to the end of the video. This thing is fantastic. For going out and exploring a railway, it is the perfect piece of kit. It is a utilitarian, simple, easy to use, easy to maintain piece of kit, which means it's absolutely perfect for what it was designed for. And for seeing this railway, it was brilliant, and I have loved it, and I very much need this or something similar in my life, because it's just so much fun. Now, admittedly, if you were using it all the time, I imagine the rattling and the fact that there are no proper sides would get very old very quickly. But for this, on a glorious day, I can't think of a better way to explore a bit of railway. Now, on the subject of exploring a bit of railway, this railway itself isn't open to the public. You cannot run a train on this, you cannot come for a ride on this. Apart from on the special dates where you can, because on the 17th of May, yes, just in a few weekends' time, there is the Family Day here, and they're going to be running the Coventry vehicle, which is a brand new super lightweight tram designed to be able to go around very tight corners, just a 15-metre radius, which means that you can lay the railway without having to massively change the infrastructure of a town. It represents a future of trams, and that's going to be doing its first ever rides on this very railway. So not only will you be able to grab an exceedingly rare bit of railway to go for a ride on, you'll be able to get the first ever public rides on the Coventry vehicle, which is, again, very exciting. And even more exciting than that, I'm going to be doing a talk on the history of rail. Yes, it's a few weekends away and I've not even started writing it, but yes, I'm going to do a talk. So am I panicked about that? Yes, I am. Come along, have a chat with me, listen to me talk about railways, to some other speakers talking about the railways of local areas, and we'll see you there, because that'll be hugely exciting. So I hope to see you there. Come along, say hi, and get a look around the development centre, because it's amazing some of the stuff they're working on, and ride on this railway. What a rare opportunity to come out here. And of course, with that, a huge great thank you to the Very Light Rail National Innovation Centre for inviting us along and allowing us to take out this vehicle. They said they thought I'd enjoy it, and they were very much right, because this thing is hilarious and brilliant. And with that, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking somewhere over there for a video on... Oh, Tom, your belt is a lot lighter than mine. I have to adjust this. Anyway, how about clicking somewhere over there for a video on the pedal power version of this that we did out in Poland, or over there for the adventures with the Wickham trolley over at the Whitwell and Reefham Railway. Ta-ra!